The Cavs are currently 6th in the East, three back from second, but also three ahead of the 11th place team, the Knicks. Kind of in the middle. How impressed? They've been inconsistent somewhat in the games that we've seen on this road trip, but they're finding a way to win. How impressive is that, given that they're so young? They still find a way to end up with a win. A win is a win.
Yeah, right. So far on this trip, they're 2-1. You know, and like you said, a little bit up and down, especially that game against Sacramento. It seemed like every time they were about ready to put them away, they let Sacramento back in the game, and it came down to a final shot. But the bottom line is you're 2-1 on this trip, and you know you're halfway through the trip. And the bottom line is you're 23-18 at the halfway point of the season, in spite of injuries to two of your best players in Colin Sexton and Rubio, and you've also had guys like Isaac Okoro in and out of the lineup. You've dealt like other teams with the health and safety protocols, with Evan Mobley in and out of the lineup with the sprained elbow, and then going into the protocols. You know, Allen was out for a while, so it's been impressive, not only from the fact of a personnel standpoint, but just the way they approach every game, regardless of who's on the court, has just been really, you know, big credit to JB Bickerstaff there, in that they're always competing, always in these games, always giving themselves a shot to win, regardless of where they're playing. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing to be but impressed. They've already matched or surpassed last season's win total at the halfway point. Despite everybody kind of figuring this would be another rebuilding year, they're right in the mix. And not only, Dave, as you mentioned, are they in the mix for the, you know, playoffs, but at 23-18, they're just a few games out of first place in the Eastern Conference. So, you know, it's just been such a great rise to watch, and to see them be able to sustain it despite these injuries has just been speaks volumes to the franchise and the job done by Kobe Alton.
So when you look at them and watch them play as a big-time basketball guy, defense, ball movement, what is it that you kind of look at and go, man, they're fun to watch? They are fun to watch. What is it that makes them so much fun to watch as a basketball purist like you are?
The one thing that they've been able to do, or two things really, is they've been able to get stops when they need them. They don't always get stops, but it seems like when they need them, and the game against the Kings being a perfect example, they needed a stop there at the end, only up 1 point with time running out. The Kings have the ball. They managed to make the Kings, De'Aaron Fox in this case, take a shot that he didn't necessarily want at the buzzer, was off balance, was out of sorts. So defensively, I like what they're doing, because they've been doing that consistently. And when you do that consistently, you're going to give yourself a shot to win, especially in road games, because a lot of times, as we saw against the Warriors and the Kings, the shots just aren't dropping. They're getting looks and they're just not falling a lot of the times. That's why you can't pull away, you know. But if you do the job defensively, you're able to not only sustain, stay competitive in these games, but pull ahead for the win. Offensively, what you have to like is the same thing. They are getting and usually making the shots when they need to. When things are getting tight, things are getting hairy, they have the confidence to keep the ball moving, look for a good shot, and more often than not, they've been knocking it down. So those two things, it's coming alive in the clutch, which isn't something you see from young teams very often. Generally, young teams won't be able to move the ball for a good shot or make that defensive stand. But the fact that they has really been a real pleasant surprise in the first half of the season.